I was folding laundry when my daughter-in-law Nia first called me confused. Said I couldn't remember things right, that I was slipping. But I wasn't confused when I woke up that morning and found my bedroom door locked from the outside. I wasn't confused when I cried for help and nobody came. Before I tell you what really happened, I just want to say thank you for listening to an old woman pour her heart out. Let me know in the comments where you're listening from and what time it is. I love hearing from you all. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. It helps me more than you know. I thought I was doing the right thing. Family sticks together, especially when grief is still fresh enough to taste in the morning coffee. My son Robert had only been gone 4 months. I was still folding his shirts that didn't need folding, still setting his place at the dinner table like he might walk through that door with his newspaper and that crooked smile. When Nia showed up with tears streaming down her face and a suitcase in her hand, I didn't think twice. I opened my door wide and pulled her into my arms. She said she just needed a little time, couldn't bear being in the apartment they used to share. Every corner reminded her of him. I understood. Lord knows I understood. Some mornings I still heard his voice calling from the kitchen, asking if I'd made biscuits. Those first few nights she cooked. Made her famous cornbread that Robert used to beg for. Even cleaned out my refrigerator without being asked, throwing out expired yogurt and wiping down shelves. I remember sitting at the kitchen table, watching her move around like she belonged there, thinking maybe this could work. Maybe the two of us could hold each other up through this darkness. Maybe having someone in the house would make the walls feel less like they were closing in. The third week, she brought paperwork to the den. I was watching my stories when she came in with a manila folder, said it would just take a second. She called it a basic caretaker agreement. Made it sound like she was doing me a favor. Clara, she said, sitting down beside me on the couch, this is just in case you ever need someone to speak for you at doctor's appointments or pick up prescriptions. Standard stuff. It'll give me permission to help with things like bills and errands when you need it. Nothing serious. I looked at those papers, all that tiny print swimming together. Couldn't make sense of half of it, but I trusted her. She was family. She was hurting like I was hurting. I signed where she pointed. If you think I was foolish for trusting family, write it in the comments. But remember, grief makes us do things we wouldn't normally do. Makes us reach for any hand that's offered. The changes came like winter frost, so gradual you don't notice until everything's frozen solid. First, she moved my summer clothes out of the hall closet to make room for her winter coats. Rearranged my kitchen cabinets without asking, said it was more efficient her way. I'd reach for my coffee mug and find measuring cups instead. Little things. Things that made me feel like a guest in my own home. Then one morning she laid a piece of paper next to my breakfast. I thought it was a grocery list. My eyes aren't what they used to be, but when I put on my reading glasses, the word invoice jumped out at me in bold letters. Rent invoice. I actually laughed. A real laugh, thinking she was making some kind of joke. Rent. I said. You pulling my leg, honey? Nia didn't laugh. She stood there with her arms crossed, that same look Robert used to get when he was dead serious about something. It's only fair, Clara. This is a shared household now. I cover utilities and food. The agreement allows for shared contributions. What agreement? My voice came out smaller than I meant it to. The one you signed. You're listed as a tenant under my care. I'm the primary manager of the residence now. I felt like someone had poured ice water down my spine. Nia, this is my house. My name's on the deed. I've lived here 43 years. I paid off that mortgage with these two hands, working double shifts at the hospital. It's all in the paperwork, she said, flat as day-old soda. You should have read it. Tell me in the comments if you've ever felt the ground shift under your feet like that. When someone you love becomes someone you don't recognize. From then on, everything changed. She started treating me like I was some boarder she was putting up with. If I left the light on, she'd appear like a ghost, scolding me about the electric bill. If I watered my roses too long, she'd tap on the window with that look that could freeze July. I told myself to stay calm. Grief makes people act strange. Maybe this would pass. Maybe she'd wake up one morning and be the sweet girl my Robert fell in love with. But then came the locks. First one appeared on the thermostat. Just showed up one day, a little metal box with a combination I didn't know. The house got colder and colder, even when the weatherman said it was 70 outside. I'd wrap myself in Robert's old cardigan, the one that still smelled like his aftershave, and shiver on the couch. It's to control expenses, she said when I asked. Then she locked the pantry. My pantry where I'd kept preserves and canned goods for 4 decades. One afternoon I went to get a can of peaches, Robert's favorite, and found a silver padlock hanging there like a judgment. Why, was all I could manage. Rationing supplies, she said. For both our benefits. I wanted to tell someone. Lord, how I wanted to pick up that phone and call somebody. But who? I didn't want to worry Aaliyah, my granddaughter. She was in her junior year of college, studying so hard. Last thing she needed was to feel like she had to choose sides. And what would I say? My daughter-in-law is being mean to me. I'm 79 years old. I should be able to handle my own household. So I stayed quiet. I started hiding granola bars in my dresser drawer. Kept water bottles under the bed. Felt like a child sneaking cookies, except I was sneaking food in my own home. If you've ever felt small in a place that should make you feel safe, drop a heart in the comments. Sometimes knowing we're not alone is all we have. Then came that night. Lord help me, I'll never forget that night. We just finished dinner. She'd made spaghetti and we ate in silence like we'd been doing for weeks. I asked her, polite as Sunday service, why she was still charging me rent when I couldn't even get to my own food. She didn't answer. Just got up, put her plate in the sink, and went to her room. I washed the dishes. That's what you do, isn't it? You wash the dishes and you go to bed and you hope tomorrow's better. I was tired. Bone tired. The kind of tired that comes from being afraid in your own home. I brushed my teeth, said my prayers, asked Robert to watch over me, and went to bed. When I woke up around midnight to use the bathroom, the door wouldn't open. At first I thought I was still dreaming. You know how sometimes you're not quite awake and things don't make sense? I turned the handle left, then right. Pushed gently, then harder. Nothing. My heart started doing that flutter it does when something's wrong. I knocked once, soft. Nia? No answer. Knocked again, louder. Nia, honey, the door's stuck. Silence. That's when I saw it. The lock on the outside had been flipped. She'd locked me in. Locked me in like I was some kind of animal. Write mother in the comments if you think she knew exactly what she was doing. Write 1 if you think it was an accident. But be honest with yourself. I stood there in my nightgown, barefoot on the cold floor, trying to understand. My hands shook so bad I could barely grip the doorknob. The panic came in waves. First hot, then cold, then hot again. I sat on the edge of my bed trying to breathe. Maybe she didn't mean to. Maybe she was sleepwalking. Maybe she'd check on me soon and realize her mistake. But what if she didn't? What if this was on purpose? Thank the Lord I still had the phone on my nightstand. My fingers fumbled with the numbers. 911. Emergency services, what's your emergency? I tried to keep my voice steady. I'm locked in my bedroom. The door's been locked from the outside and I can't get out. Ma'am, are you in immediate danger? I don't know. Please, I need help. I'm 79 years old and I'm locked in and I don't know why. Are you injured? No, but I'm scared. Please, someone needs to come. Can you confirm your address? I gave them everything. Then I sat there on my bed, phone clutched in my hand like a lifeline, staring at that door that had kept me safe for so many years. The flashing lights painted my curtains red and blue. I heard car doors, muffled voices. When the knock came, it was gentle. Ma'am, this is the police. Are you okay in there? I'm okay, I said, my voice cracking like old leather. But I can't open the door. I heard them working the lock, metal on metal. One officer asked me to step back and I did, grateful to have someone else take charge. When that door finally opened, the young officer who stepped in had the kindest eyes. Did you hurt yourself trying to get out? No, I just woke up and it was locked. He looked around my room, then back toward the hallway. You live here alone? No, my daughter-in-law lives here. Nia. She moved in after my son passed. I let her stay. She's been helping with things, but... Before I could finish, I heard the front door open. Nia's voice floated through like honey over broken glass, sweet and smooth. Officers? I'm so sorry, I just got back. What's going on? I stepped into the hallway, embarrassed in my nightgown and bare feet. The officers turned to her as she approached in her robe, looking for all the world like she'd just woken from peaceful sleep. She called saying she was locked in her bedroom, one officer explained. Nia's face shifted to concern, then that gentle smile that could fool angels. Oh, Clara, she said, like she was talking to a child. Did you forget again? I felt heat rise to my face. Forget what? She turned to the officers, her voice dripping sympathy. She has early dementia. She's been forgetting things lately. Sometimes she thinks I'm keeping things from her or locking doors that aren't locked. We installed that lock for her safety so she doesn't wander at night. I don't have dementia, I said, but it came out weak, like I was already doubting myself. The younger officer looked at me. Ma'am, do you have a diagnosis? No, I'm fine. I'm not forgetful. Mia gave a little laugh, patient and patronizing. She doesn't remember the doctor's visits. It's okay. This happens sometimes. I'm her legal caregiver. I can show you the agreement. She pulled out that folder, the one I'd signed, and handed it over like evidence. The officer skimmed it, nodding. They looked at me with pity now, not concern. We're just here to make sure you're safe, one said. I'm not safe if I'm being locked in, I said, but my voice was barely a whisper. The other officer turned to Nia. Can you make sure she has access to a phone if she needs to call again? Of course. She has one right by her bed. I'll double-check everything. After they left, Nia closed the door gentle as a coffin lid. When she turned to me, the sweet mask was gone. What was that? She asked. You locked me in. She raised an eyebrow. You really don't remember, do you? I remember everything. You locked my door. She stepped closer and I could smell her perfume, too strong, too sharp. You're lucky they didn't take you for a psych evaluation. You want to end up in a state facility? Strangers giving you pills, wheeling you into cold showers, tying you to beds when you get agitated. I backed away. I would never dash. No one will care what you would never do. You're 79. You sign papers saying you need care. I'm the caregiver. You think they'll listen to the old woman or the young professional who's sacrificing to take care of her? My legs felt like water. I walked past her to my room, shut the door. She didn't lock it this time. She didn't need to. The threat hung in the air like smoke. That night, I left the lamp on. Left the curtains open. Every creak in the hallway made me jump. I was afraid of her voice, her silence, what she might do next. In the morning, the pantry was locked again. My coffee tin had disappeared. A sticky note on the fridge said, "Ask before using supplies." I slipped a granola bar into my sweater pocket, hid another under my pillow. Started filling water bottles to keep under the bed. If she was going to make me feel like a prisoner, I'd at least be a prepared one. Would you have fought back? Or would you have done what I did, tried to survive? Tell me in the comments. Sometimes I wonder if I should have been braver. That afternoon I heard her on the phone, laughing like she didn't have a care. She's starting to slip more, she said. I'll take her for evaluation next time she acts out. I closed my door quietly, sat on my bed. Acting out. Like I was a toddler throwing tantrums instead of a woman locked in her own room. That night, she came home humming. I knew something was different the moment she walked in. Her heels clicked louder, her hair was done up nice, and she tossed her coat on the chair like she owned the place. Which I guess in her mind she did. I was watching an old game show, volume low so as not to disturb her. Going somewhere? I asked gentle as I could. She poured herself wine, glanced at me. Quick trip to Chicago. Leaving tomorrow morning. 5 days tops. I sat up straighter. I'll be here alone? She shrugged. You'll be fine, Clara. I stocked the fridge. Apples, eggs, some soup in the cabinet. I chose my words careful as picking berries. Can I get a spare key? Just in case. She turned to the sink, rinsed her glass. You won't need it. Nia, please. If you're locking the gate again, I'd feel better, dash. You'll be fine, she said, sharper now. Just rest while I'm gone. Don't stress yourself. She went to her room, closed the door. I sat there with the TV flickering, listening to her pack. Kept telling myself she wouldn't do it again. Not after the police. Not after seeing my fear. But when I woke the next morning, I knew. The light through my window was already high. My throat was dry. The water glass by my bed was empty. I walked to the door, turned the handle. It moved, but the door didn't. I tried again slower. Pressed my shoulder against it. Nothing. Nia. I called, soft at first. Then louder. Nia. Silence. I pressed my ear to the door. The house was quiet as a held breath. I shuffled to the window, looked out. Her car was gone. This time I didn't panic right away. It was a different kind of fear, cold and spreading slow like water finding cracks. I looked around my room. Half a bottle of water under the bed. 2 granola bars in the drawer. A banana already going soft. She'd done it again. No warning, no note. Just gone, with me locked in like something shameful she needed to hide. Like this video if you've ever felt invisible. Comment if you've ever screamed and no one heard. Share it if you think stories like mine need to be told. I rationed everything. Tiny sips of water. Half a granola bar. Made myself lie down to save energy. Told myself 5 days. I could make it 5 days. But as the hours passed, my body got heavy. My joints screamed when I moved. My hands shook worse than ever. I kept going to that door, trying the handle like it might magically open. By the second night, I was dizzy. My mouth felt like I'd been eating sand. The banana had turned black as my thoughts. The last of the water was gone. I drank it that morning, praying between sips. I lay on the floor because the bed felt too far away. The ceiling spun lazy circles above me. Sometimes I thought I saw Robert's face in the patterns. I whispered his name, told him I was trying, asked him to help me hold on. I don't know when I passed out. Time stopped meaning anything. There was just thirst and heat and the weight of my own body on that floor. What came next felt like floating. A door creaking somewhere. Footsteps. A voice calling, "Grandma? Grandma? Aaliyah? My baby girl." I tried to answer, but my lips wouldn't work. I heard her clearer now, panic rising. "Oh my God. Grandma?" Then a man's voice. "This door's locked." "That's not the bathroom," Aaliyah said. "Then wait. That's Grandma's room. She never locks." "Grandma?" The handle rattled. Then harder. "Get the key," she said. "Check the kitchen drawer. Hurry." Light flooded in like mercy. I felt her before I saw her, her hands on my shoulders, her tears on my face. "Oh my God, oh my God. Grandma, can you hear me? Malik, call 911. Now." She pulled me into her lap, cradled my head like I used to hold hers when she was small and scared. "I'm here," she kept saying. "You're okay now. I'm here." Her hands brushed my face, checked my pulse. I wanted to tell her I loved her, that I was proud of her, but nothing came out. "She's burning up," she said. "How long?" "Grandma, how long have you been?" Sirens in the distance, getting closer. She wrapped a blanket around me, never letting go. "Stay with me," she whispered. "Please stay with me." When the paramedics arrived, they moved fast but gentle. Lifted me like I weighed nothing. The oxygen mask felt like the first breath I'd taken in days. As they wheeled me out, I saw my kitchen ceiling blur past. Thought of all the meals I cooked there. All the conversations at that table. How it had gone from a place of love to a place of fear. "Did you find her like this?" one paramedic asked. Aaliyah nodded, her voice shaking. "We came looking for my grandma. The house was quiet. Malik needed the bathroom. I told him which door, but it was locked. That's when I remembered it's Grandma's room. She never locks it." "She was alone?" "Mom's been gone. I don't know how long. Days." I heard the judgment in his voice when he said, "This isn't neglect. This is something else." At the hospital, they pushed fluids into my veins, and slowly, the world came back into focus. Aaliyah never left my side. She held my hand while they ran tests, while they asked questions, while they wrote things on charts with serious faces. Severe dehydration, the doctor told her. She was locked in for over 48 hours, likely longer. Her kidneys are strained, muscle response weak, but we're stabilizing her. The doctor's face was kind but firm. "We'll be reporting this to the authorities. This wasn't an accident." That night, when the machines hummed their electronic lullabies, I managed to whisper her name. "Aaliyah." Her head snapped up, fresh tears starting. "I'm here, Grandma. I'm right here." I croaked. "I know. I should have seen it. Should have asked more questions." "No." I squeezed her hand weak as a bird's wing. She fooled everyone. Her jaw set hard. "She won't anymore. Drop a heart if you think families should protect each other, not prey on each other. Tell me in the comments if you've ever had to stand up to someone who is supposed to love you." The police came back. Not the dismissive ones from before, but detectives who listened. Detective Larkin from Elder Protection Unit sat beside my bed like she had all the time in the world. "Your granddaughter showed us photos," she said. "The locks, the empty drawer where your food should have been. We searched the house." "What did you find?" I asked. "Enough," Detective Reyes said. "Multiple locks installed without permits. Documents showing she was charging you rent on your own property. False lease agreements. And this." He showed me a paper. A complaint from 5 years ago. Her elderly aunt accused her of the same thing. Case was dropped when the aunt passed away before trial. My heart sank. She's done this before. And this time she almost killed you. That's attempted murder. Nia was arrested at the bus terminal trying to leave town. They charged her with elder abuse, unlawful imprisonment, and attempted murder. No bail. The story made the news. Small segment, but enough. Elderly woman locked in bedroom by daughter-in-law. Reporters called. People wanted to know how it happened, why I didn't speak up sooner. I'll tell you why. Because when someone makes you doubt your own mind, you stop trusting yourself. When family betrays you, you think you must be wrong. When you're old and alone, sometimes it feels like your voice doesn't matter anymore. But it does matter. If you're listening to this and you're scared, if someone's making you feel small in your own home, speak up. Tell someone. Keep telling until someone listens. Aaliyah moved in with me. Transferred schools to be closer. We removed every lock except the front door, and I have the only key. The pantry stays open. The thermostat's set where I like it. My bedroom door doesn't even have a lock anymore. At the trial, Nia tried to play victim. Said she was grieving, overwhelmed, that I was confused and difficult. But they had the evidence. The photos. The hospital report. The history with her aunt. 15 years. That's what she got. 10 before parole. Aaliyah asked me one evening as we sat on the porch, "Do you feel like yourself again?" I thought about it. Not all the way. But I'm getting there. I still keep water by my bed. Still check that my door opens before I sleep. But the fear is fading, replaced by something stronger. Not anger. Not bitterness. Just the knowledge that I survived. That my voice was finally heard. If you made it this far, thank you for listening to an old woman's story. Comment, "Mother," if you think I deserved better. Comment 1 if you think I should have seen it coming. But whatever you write, remember this: we're never too old to matter. Never too old to fight for our dignity. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe if you want to hear more stories like mine. And remember, family isn't always blood. Sometimes it's the granddaughter who breaks down the door. Sometimes it's the stranger who finally listens. God bless you all. Stay safe. And never let anyone make you small in your own home.